Okay. All right, great. Okay, like I said, thank you for joining. And the name of this game is Zoo Tiles Hime. It's a game that's loosely based on the creatures of the Chinese zodiac. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Chinese zodiac, but they have like dragons, tigers, rabbits, things of that nature. And this game is a strategic tile placement game where you are trying to match certain groups of creatures who are compatible with each other together. And if you are able to do that, you remove the tiles from the playing area and you score points. The object of the game is to score 12 points. So if you can do that, you win the game. And there's two main ways to score points. But before I go into that, I just want to say the number one rule for Zoo Tiles Hime is that you're having fun. So if in the process of learning the game, or if there's anything, you're just like bored or this isn't your thing, feel free to just let me know. Say, Josh, this isn't my jam. Thank you, and that's fine. And no harm, no foul. I just don't want someone, feeling obligated to stay and not play a game that they're enjoying. So please let me know if that's the case ever no with worries. You. Okay, great. So I'll just jump into it. Like I mentioned, it's 12 points to win the game, and there's two major ways to score points. I'll go over the first major way right now, which is called completing a square of compatible creatures. So I don't see where you're seated at. Are you seated directly across from me?
I haven't selected a color yet.
Oh, okay. Well, do you see where I am?
I do.
Okay, you might. I can't see the different colors, but you might want to select the one that's sitting directly across from me. Oh, there you go. Now I see you. Okay, great. So, so what you'll see in the center here is 3 tiles that I've placed here, and these are what's called the basic creature tiles. So you'll see over here I have the rabbit, the pig, and the ram, and these should all be facing you. And what you'll see if you take a look at any of these, let's just take a look at the pig. You'll see an icon at the top that has a gold or yellow ring around it. And that icon is the icon of the tile. So that is the pig icon right there at the top. What you'll also see are smaller icons that run up and down both sides of the tile. And if you see them lit up, or if you see them have color in them, that means that those are the creatures that this pig is compatible with. So let's just go through this real quickly. The pig is compatible with the black rat, the orange tiger, the pink rabbit, the green dragon, the gray ram, and the pink pig. So it's compatible with other pigs. So that's the pig one. If we swing over to the rabbit over here, you'll see the rabbit is compatible with oxen, other rabbits, rams, dogs, and pigs. And then if we swing over to the ram, you'll see that the ram is compatible with rabbits, horses, rams, and pigs. And so what does compatibility mean? The way you score points, like I said, is to form a square of compatible creatures where the creatures are compatible with their neighbor. So let me just describe that real fast. So let's just say, let me pull the rabbit back here, let me pull the ram back here. Let's say the game was started with a pig and somebody dropped the pig here. And then the next person put a rabbit. So I should take the second to say this right now. After the first tile is played, every subsequent tile needs to be placed in, I think it's, I always get this word messed up, orthonical, basically side by side.
Orthogonal.
What was that?
Orthogonal.
Orthogonal, yes. After the first tile is placed, every subsequent tile must be placed in orthogonal position. So, for instance, someone places the pig here, then the player who places the rabbit next, they can only place the rabbit in one of 4 places. They can place it here, they can place it here, they can place it here, or they can place it there. Let's just say they choose to place it here. Then the next player chooses the ram, and again, it has to be placed in an orthogonal position. So let's just say they put it here. Then another player, the player who places the 4th and final tile in a position that would complete a square, like for instance if I drop this pig here, you'll see that a square of tiles has been completed, whereas if I pulled it away, a square would be incomplete. So if I'm the player who is the one who finishes a square, I've done what's called completed a square. But have I completed a square where all the creatures are compatible with their neighbors? So let's do that check really fast. I'll start with the rabbit. So is the rabbit compatible with the pigs? Yes, because you can see the rabbit has the smaller pig icon on it, and the pigs have the rabbit icon. So the rabbit is compatible with the pig. I'm gonna go from the top. So the rabbit is compatible with the pig that's on top of it. Then the question is the pig compatible with the ram? Well, let's take a look. Does the pig have the ram icon? Yes, it does. And the ram also has the pig icon. So those two are compatible. And then is the ram compatible with this pig? Yes, because if it's compatible with the other pig, it's certainly compatible with this pig. And is the pig compatible with the rabbit? Yes, it is. So not only have we completed a square of tiles, we've completed a square of compatible tiles. And when that happens, the person who is responsible for that, the person who dropped the last tile in, takes all of the tiles and puts them in their point pile. And they score 1 point for each tile that they remove in that way. So I would swing this over here and I would put this in a point pile. And that right there is what's called completing a square of compatible creatures. And that would score me 4 points. And again, the object of the game is to score 12 points. So if you can do that 3 times, you win the game. So that is completing a square of compatible creatures. Now, there is a little bit more to the game than this. I'm going to bring these tiles out here. And I don't know if you had a chance to read the email that I sent on the things that you can do during your turn. There's 5 things that someone can do on their turn. And
I read the email and I watched the video.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you for watching the video. That's great. So, yeah, so 2 of the 5 things you can do on your turn is start an action or use an action tile to start what's called an action stack. And you'll see 3 tiles here, one of which is push, which is an action. So that's over here. Oops. So that's the gray one. That's an action. And then you see it's only a bunny here. That is a reaction. And then you'll see rabbit leap, which is an action, which can be used as an action or a reaction. So how does this work? It's very, very simple. Let's just say on my turn, I have this push tile, and I say, I would like to play this action tile. And so what I would do is I would take it, and I would just put it off to the side, and I would say, opponent, I would like to do this action. And you would say, okay, that's great. I would like to react to your action. And I would say, go for it. And then let's say you put this, you want to react with this tile, and what you would do is you would take it and you would drop it right on top of my tile. And then I would go, oh, that's pretty good. I want to react to that. And so I would take this reaction tile, which again, it's an action or reaction, so I can use it as a reaction. And I would take that and I would drop that right on top. And then you would have the opportunity to do any more reactions, and then I would have the opportunity to do any more reactions we want until we just build the stack as high as we want it to go. Then we would do is we would take the very top tile, and we would do exactly what it says. So let's say rabbit leap allows the rabbit to leap over and do some stuff. And so we would take care of that first, and we would completely disregard whatever else is in the stack. We would only focus on this tile. And then after that, we would discard this tile after that reaction had been completed. Then we would do the next tile down, which is this reaction tile. We would do whatever it says to do, and then we would discard that. And then lastly, we would do, we would finally get to the action that somebody wanted to do. And we would do that to the best of our ability. Now, because there were reactions played prior to that, it might be the case that the action can't even happen again, can't even happen now. And in that case, it would just fizzle and get put into a discard pile. So that right there is the action, is how action tiles work and how the action stack works. Is that pretty clear so far?
Yes, just one thing.
Sure.
I'm reading the labels for the different cards.
Okay.
And it says, for example, a rabbit you control.
Yes.
Who is you in the case where we're stacking the pile?
So the person who controls it is the person who, generally speaking, puts it into play. And when you place a tile, you place it facing you. So I will be playing tiles. Let's say I'll be placing tiles that look like this, and they'll be facing me, and you'll be placing tiles that are facing you. And so when it says rabbit you control, it would be a rabbit facing you.
So basically, as we unstack, we play our own cards.
Yes. So basically, when you play a tile into that stack, it's a tile that you want to play, generally speaking, that affects your tiles.
Okay.
Okay, I'll put this back. And so that's the action stack. And then, let's see. Oh, and then the last part is the second way to score points is to battle creatures. And so let me pull some creatures out here real fast. Hold on just a second. I'll pull this ram back. Okay, so in the middle here, you'll see that there is a rabbit I'm dropping, and there is a pig here. Now, in order for creatures to battle, there needs to be an attacker that you would choose and a defender. And the defender has to be orthogonal to the attacker, so in a neighboring position. So you can see an example of that right now. You can see the pig and the rabbit are orthogonal to each other and neighbors. So how, and let's just say I want my pig to attack your rabbit. How would that start? Well, the way it would start is I would choose any tile in my hand and I would place it face down. And so let's just say I had, hold on, let me flip this around. Let's say I had this in my hand. I would put it over to the side and I would declare a battle. I would say, I'm placing this is a battle action tile, and my pig is going to attack your rabbit. And the way this works to find out if you resolve it or not is it's a very simple comparison between strength and intelligence. If you zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see that the pig has a strength of 3 and an intelligence of 4, and the rabbit has a strength of 1 and an intelligence of 3. And because the pig is both stronger and smarter than the rabbit, then the pig would win that battle, and I would remove your rabbit from the playing area and put it in my point pile, and I would score a point for that. So that's battling at a very simple level. Now, if, for instance, however, if this were the situation, and my pig wanted to battle your rabbit, since you also control a ram that is neighboring the rabbit, you could call upon your friend the ram, and you could say, hey ram, will you help me defend myself? And since you control both, you would say, yes, of course I want to. And so what would happen is you would actually form one entity, because you would just add the stats together. So instead of the rabbit being a 1-3 entity, it is now a 5-5 entity. And if my pig were to attack into that, you could defend the rabbit, not only, tie, but you could also win, and you would actually end up winning the pig, and you would remove my pig, and you put it in your point pile for a point. And so the same holds true for attack. So let's just say, for instance, let me rotate this again. Since let's say I control the ram, and now my pig and my ram, since they're both orthogonal to your rabbit, I could make one entity if I wanted to. It would be a little bit overkill. I wouldn't need to, because my pig could do it by itself, but let's just say I wanted to. I could create a 7-6 entity versus your 1-3 entity, and then I would battle that. Now, if the ram was over here, I couldn't do that because it's not neighboring or orthogonal to the rabbit. If it was over here, still I couldn't do it because it's not neighboring or orthogonal to the rabbit. But I could do it here, and I could do it here. So basically, allies are centered around the defender always. And so this over here, this battle action stack, or this battle action tile that I started, it works exactly the same way as a battle action stack. So let's say I put this down and I say my pig wants to battle your rabbit. Then what you would do is you would have the opportunity to react to that. If you had a reaction, you could put that right there. And then I might want to react to your reaction, and so on and so forth until we both don't want to place any more reactions there. And then we would work our way down until this battle action tile is reached. And that's when the battle would take place, and we would decide, who wins what and all that good stuff. And then this would get discarded. This tile would get discarded. And that right there is pretty much it. There's a few other little things I have. There's a tile that I'm putting kind of toward the middle here. That is a item, and it works pretty much just like a creature, except it can't attack. These values here are for defense only. So that's something to know. But other than that, I think that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. What you have closer to you is you have 2 stacks of tiles. The one with the tiger on it is a deck with tigers, horses, and dogs. And the other deck has rabbits, rams, and pigs. Which of those 2 sound more interesting to you?
That's a hard question.
Yes.
I don't know. Let's take the tigers.
You want to take tigers? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove these away from here. And since you're going to play the tigers, I will play the deck with the pigs and everybody. Hold on, let me group this. And then I will remove my tiger deck over here. So those are kind of off. And then I will go ahead and set this up. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your deck. I'm going to flip it over. Then I'm going to shuffle it a bunch. And then I'm going to do the same with mine. I'm going to take my deck. And
so in each game, everybody has 3 animal types?
No. So what this is the game is coming out for tabletop in October. And the game will have 2 what's called starter decks. And what we're playing now are the 2 starter decks. But after you get the game, you can make customized decks however you want. You could have 3 creatures, you could have 2, you could have 1, you could have 12 if you wanted. The first starter set is only going to focus on 6 creatures, the 6 creatures that we're playing today. But then starter set 2 will be coming out in March, and that will have the other 6 creatures. So yeah, that's how this is working right now. But you'll have a lot of freedom in how you want to customize your deck. Or if you don't want to customize it at all, you don't have to. You can just continue to play the standard pre-constructed decks. So what I'm going to try and do, I haven't been very good at this, is I'm trying to split this into 5 piles of 8s. So let me see if I can do that. We've been having different degrees of success. So I got 16, no, let's see, hold on. Alright, 16 and 16. So 16, 8, 16. Okay, so that's good. Now let me pull this one here. I'm going to split this into 2. Oh, I'm getting better at this. Okay. And I'm going to split this into 2. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this whole bunch here. Oops. Rats. Okay, hold on. I'm going to grab this whole, and that is your deck. And on one side you can use as your discard pile, and on the other side you can use as your point pile. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my deck over here, and what you can do is you can choose 5 tiles any way you want. You can choose them from any of those 5 stacks in front of you. You can choose them from one, all from one, or one from all, or any combination, however you want. Go ahead and draw 5 tiles. And I'm going to set up my deck down here the same way. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Trying to figure out which... Oh, okay, I see. This one here. Alright, there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to grab these, and I'm going to bring these back here, and then I'm going to draw 5. So I'm going to draw one here. Whoa. Okay. So did you, in your hand, do you have at least one basic creature? It'll say tiger, horse, or dog. Do you have at least one of those?
Yep.
Okay, so what you'll want to do is you can place any tile with a strength and intelligence value. This is one of the 5 things you can do. To start the game, you can place it anywhere in the middle of the playing area. Great. And then at the end of your turn, you draw 1 tile from any stack you want. I was maybe a little premature. Did you want to do anything else before you drew to end your turn?
Let's see, no.
No? Okay. Okay, my turn. I am going to play a rabbit here. And then I'm going to draw and end my turn.
When we're attacking,
Uh-huh.
it's the same thing as an action pile, so we're talking about an action card.
Yes, so you can take, in order to battle, you're exactly right. It's just like an action. So you can choose any tile in your hand, any tile, doesn't matter what it is, flip it upside down and set it off to the side, and that will start a battle. Now, one thing I do want to say is that if these two were to battle, it would be a draw, because even though the dog is stronger than the rabbit, they have equal intelligence. So just kind of wanted to point.
I'm just double checking.
Yes, you had that right. Yes, you take any tile in your hand, flip it, and put it off to the side, and that starts what's called a battle action stack.
That's it.
Okay. And did you draw for your turn? You did draw?
Yes, I did.
Okay, got it. Okay. Let's see here. Ooh. Okay. So I'm going to take a ram and I'm going to drop this here. And what I've done is I've completed a square. But have I completed... Sorry?
I said because I made a really bad pick.
Well, let's talk through it. So, so you put the horse here, and I put the ram here. Now let's see. Again, I completed a square, but have I completed a compatible square? Let me check. So, is the ram compatible with the horse? Yes, it is. It's got the little horse icon. Is the horse compatible with the dog? Yes, it is. It has a dog icon. Is the dog compatible with the rabbit? Yes, the dog has the rabbit icon. And is the rabbit compatible with the ram? Yes, it is. So, in normal way of playing, I would drop that there. I would remove all 4 tiles, and I would score 4 points for that. Now, since this is the first game, I'm completely fine taking that back and letting you do something else with your horse if you would like to.
Okay. Let's put it here instead.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Okay, so I am still going to place my ram here. And then I am going to draw and end my turn. And again, just to go over the 5 things you can do, you can do 2 action stacks, you can battle, you can place 1 tile into the playing area, and if you can ditch 2 tiles, you can discard 2 tiles from your hand to draw a fresh tile. So just wanted to make sure that those were clear.
Just out of curiosity, the way that the different animals relate to each other, is it always a mirror? Or are there cases where it's not symmetrical?
There are rare cases where it's not symmetrical. But
it's usually...
Generally speaking, they are. Like, for instance, in your deck, you might run into a tile called Happy Tiger. And that, how that works is you replace a tiger, and that Happy Tiger is compatible with everything. And so some things might not, like the rabbit, for instance, it's not compatible with tigers. But since this Happy Tiger is compatible with everything, it is compatible with rabbits.
Right. Okay, so if I didn't get confused, I can do a square like this.
Yes, you could do that there. And that is a good play. What you're hoping is I don't have another ram. Oh, wait. You did it to fill the square. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yes, perfect. Yes. You can, so go ahead and group that together. And then grab that and take it off to one of your sides of your, there you go. Yeah. Well, go ahead and pull it back a little bit more.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just zooming out.
Oh, okay.
Oops.
Perfect. Now you scored 4 points. Perfect.
do I want to do something else? I can't place 2 cards, right? I just placed 1.
That's right. You can't place 2, just 1.
So I'll just draw then.
Sounds good. All right, on my turn, I'm just going to be honest. I don't have any creatures, so I'm going to draw to end my turn. And pass.
Is there a hand limit?
No, no hand limit.
Okay. And I'm going to draw.
Great. And I'm going to go ahead and draw and pass turn.
Okay. I think I'm going to just draw as well.
Okay. Then I am going to... I'm going to go ahead and place a pig here. And then I'm going to draw. And pass turn.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So that's another square, right?
That is another square. That is correct. So you go ahead and scoop that up.
And I'm just going to draw.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and lead off with the pig. And then I'm going to draw. And pass turn.
Okay, and I draw.
Okay. Let's see here. I am going to go ahead and drop a pig here. And then I'm going to declare an attack. The pig on top of your dog and the pig on this, well, the pig on top of your dog is going to be the one attacking. But his ally is going to be the pig on the side of your dog. And I'm going to place a battle action tile off to the side. And now you have the opportunity to react to that with reaction tiles. And you would drop that right on top.
Which one is the attacker?
The attacker is the one...
It's a card I would get.
The attacker is the one on the top. And if you won the battle, you would get both.
Okay. So why does it matter which one is the ally, which one is the attacker?
It's just a way to... you have basically a tile called an attacker and a tile called a defender. And certain things can happen to the attacker. And so it's important to call out that individual tile.
Okay. I am not going to react.
Okay. So this gets put into my discard pile. And I will win this battle. And I will take this dog and score my first point. Yay! And then I will draw. And I will pass the turn.
All right. I'm gonna draw.
Okay. Let's see. I'm thinking. I think I'm going to put this ram here. And then I'm going to draw. Pass turn. Sorry, did you draw to end your turn?
Yep, yeah, I said your turn.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to draw and end my turn. Sorry, did you draw?
Oh, I'm still thinking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna draw.
Okay. I'm going to draw as well.
Okay. Let's try this.
Okay.
So I'm going to attack your pig over here.
Okay.
And I need to grab and flip a card.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm attacking this pig here.
Yes, got it. So I'm going to go ahead and react to that. I'm going to grab this tile here. It's called Waddle. And this tile, since it's a reaction, it gets placed face up. Is there anything you would like to react to with my reaction?
Hold on. Nope, looks like I'm not gonna react to that.
Okay, so let me just make sure I can move a pig I control over one space into an empty space. So I'm going to go ahead and move this pig over one space here into an empty space. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to discard it. And then now the battle happens, but your two dogs chomp and claw into thin air. Sorry about that.
Discard the other card.
And you would discard that card. Yes, correct.
and then I can draw.
You could draw, or if you had another action you wanted to do, you could do that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Right, your turn.
Okay. Oddly enough, I think I'm going to just draw. I'm not getting a lot of creatures. Okay, your turn.
All right. Hmm. Hmm. I think I'm gonna draw as well.
Okay. I obviously don't know what you have in your hand, but I do know that dogs have a tile called Loud Bark. And if you did have Loud Bark in your hand, this would be a really good time to use it on that center pig because it has nowhere to escape. But if you don't have it, that's fine. But I'm just letting you know that that would be an opportune time because the pig has nowhere to go.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and drop this ram here. And I'm going to do the check. And everything works out. So I'm going to go ahead and grab. Do you want to take a look at that?
That's all good.
Yep. So I will go ahead and group these together. And I will move these over. And the score is now 5-8. All right. Mm-hmm. But you have a great board state now, so we'll see what happens. And I'm going to draw to end my turn.
Okay. There's a lot of special powers, obviously, on the different cards. So
yeah. Feel free to take your time to look at them all, because obviously you haven't had a chance before the game. Each special power is kind of loosely focused on what the animal normally does in nature. So, barks and waddles and stuff like that. So, but feel free to take your time. The first starter set will have 80 tiles in it, 2 40-tile decks. That's exactly what we're playing now.
Okay, I'm just going to stick to drawing for now.
Okay. I am going to go ahead and play a ram here. Then I'm going to play an action called Oof. And I'll rotate that so you can see that. So I'm going to discard a ram I control from the playing area. So I'm going to get rid of him. And then if you would be so kind as to lay out your tiles face down on the...
Well, I can react first, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can react first. Absolutely.
Let me check if I want to do that.
Actually, then in that case, I need to put that ram back. yeah, if there's anything you want to do as a reaction, now that's a good reaction, now's the time to do it.
Hold on.
If you can
No, that wouldn't change anything.
if you can get rid of the RAM, that would change something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything that would be able to do that or not.
I thought I had something that would help, but it doesn't.
Okay. So then I will go ahead and
No, go ahead. Yeah.
discard the RAM. And then, yeah, just put him face down, yeah.
I'm supposed to be shuffling. Oh, hold on. I always do that. I always just grab just one card.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I can split it in half.
Or you could just grab one and put it next to, yeah.
Whatever. You're the one taking my cards anyway, so.
Yeah, okay, I'll do it real fast. Let's see, I'll just... So it looks like you had 8 tiles.
Yeah.
And why don't we go ahead and get rid of this one, this one, this one, this one. So I'll remove those. And you can gather up those.
Yeah.
And then this goes in the discard pile. In my discard pile. And then I will draw and pass a turn.
I will also just draw, and it's your turn.
Got it. Okay, I will draw and pass turn.
I draw, and it's your turn.
Okay. I will... let's see. What do I want to do here? This is tough. I guess I'm going to drop my RAM here and then draw for the turn.
Okay. I'm going to play this here.
Okay.
And Not reacting?
Well, let's see. So, I am not reacting.
Okay. And that's all you have?
Yes.
I was certain you had one. Okay, so I messed that up.
But you can maybe get one. Let's see. Does it say you can get it from?
You have a discard pile.
Let's see. No. Do you have one in your discard?
Okay. Well, I'm pretty
opponents.
sure I picked one up, but I thought you had as well.
Just choose a horse.
Okay. Oh, whatever. I wasted it. It's okay. But I'm assuming that we're not supposed to look in the other player's piles?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, you can.
I could have checked first.
Yes, you could have. And you can check your own discard pile. I think it also works in your discard pile as well.
Pretty sure it says opponents.
Oh, just opponents? Okay.
Hold on.
Oh, there's a horse. Okay. Let's see what it says.
So I guess not. Is my audio cutting out?
I'm sorry?
So I'm not hearing my echo all the time.
I hear you perfectly.
Okay. Because I said the card says an opponent's pile.
Yeah. Yeah. I think an edit has been made, so you can actually take that horse and put it in your point pile. Yeah. Because I think the new version says that you can do that if it's in your discard pile.
Okay, and I will end with a draw.
Okay. And just so we're clear, you did not want to attack my ram.
I guess not.
I mean, you can if you want to. You got... I'm not telling you what to do either. Oh, go ahead.
There's too many options all at once.
Yeah.
Hold on. Well, no, I drew. That's it.
Okay, that's fine. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to drop a rabbit here. And then I'm going to play this action that is called a snuggle party.
So the horse and the dog are yours now.
Unless you want to react to that somehow.
Here you go.
Perfect. Let's see if I want to react to your reaction. Huh. I am going to react to that. Oops.
Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, so the rabbit leap happens first. I'm going to take my rabbit and I'm going to leap on the other side of this horse. And then this gets discarded. Then a loud bark pops off and you can decide what you want to do with that.
I can't push your rabbit anymore,
Nope.
but I can at least push your ram.
Yep. Okay, so the ram will get pushed over here. And then the loud bark resolves. And then the snuggle party happens, and there's only a horse here. So I will rotate that, showing that I control it now. And if you get rid of my rabbit at any time, you'll get the horse back. And that is how that works. And then I will draw and end my turn.
Okay, I'm gonna start an action pile.
Okay. Let's see what we... Oh, okay. Let's see if I have... I don't have any reactions to that.
Okay, so then I can get rid of your rabbit.
Okie dokie. Rabbit gets away, and then because of that, you get your horse back. Oops.
All right, what else? I think I'm just gonna draw.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and put a pig here. And then I'm going to draw.
Okay. So I'm going to play this here.
Okay.
And attack your pig.
Okay, let's see here. Are you going to bring your horse into this battle?
Hold on. You need to, right?
Yeah, you would need to.
Okay, so horse and tiger.
Okay, let's see. That's a 9/5 entity. So if I bring in my ram, I can possibly help on the defense. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my ram. You started the battle. Let me see if there's anything I want to do to react to that. Hold on. And actually, I am going to do something. I'm going to go ahead and waddle. Do you want to react to that waddle?
Nope.
No? Okay. So even though I wouldn't have lost, I still don't like that pig there. So I'm going to take the opportunity to move him over here. Then the battle happens, and the swipe of the tiger and the kick of the horse miss the pig. And you drew, right?
I just draw.
Okay.
Yeah. I do think my other was spinning out sometimes.
Got it. Huh. Well, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and put a pig here. And draw. And pass turn.
I'm going to need to ask a question.
Sure.
Even though it's revealing, but it's a playtest.
That's okay, yeah, absolutely.
The happy tiger.
Yes. It has to replace a tiger.
It says must replace tiger.
Right.
So I have to play it on top of another tiger?
Yeah, you would choose a tiger that's in play, and you would replace that tiger with the happy tiger, and then the original tiger would go in the discard pile.
Okay. Another clarification to ask.
Absolutely.
The golden bone.
Yeah, golden bone is basically a free point for you.
But I have to play it as an action stack.
Yes, you do.
So, and then it says, as an action, any player who controls a dog or dragon and who does not have golden bone may move golden bone to their point pile.
Right. So this wouldn't be so much a strategy during this game, but in the future, what they call the meta, someone who plays dogs would want to have a lot of golden bones, you would think, because those are free points to them. But say I in my deck, maybe I'm not playing dog as the primary animal, but I might just throw one in there, because if I play a dog person who's putting a bunch of golden bones in their point pile, and then I play a dog or a tiger, I could steal those golden bones from them and put it into my pile.
Okay. So if I already have a golden bone and you play that action, you can take one.
Yes, I could actually take all of them. So it's really tricky on the timing of the golden bone, because since you can only do 2 actions a turn, the most you could do in one turn is 2 golden bones, but then you're really risking, and then you could do another 2 your next turn, but you're risking that I don't play a dog or a dragon and steal your bones from you. But then on your turn, if you didn't have any bones in your pile anymore, you could take an action and steal them back.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to start that action.
Okay. I am not going to react at all.
And...
Is that your point pile?
No, sorry, I put no.
Okay.
Put that in my point pile.
Got it.
Okay. And I'm going to draw after that.
Okay. Then on my turn, I'm going to go ahead and drop this rabbit here.
Mm-hmm.
And everything should check out. So I'm going to go ahead and group that. And I'm going to drag
I was sort of expecting that,
Yeah.
but I couldn't do anything to stop it.
Yeah. Well, if you had a tiger, you could have dropped it in there, but I don't know what you have in your hand. But a tiger would have been a good one, especially if you had a happy tiger on, tiger, happy tiger. That would have been great. But this is a really good game. It's 10-9, and you've got some really great board state. I'm going to go ahead and draw and pass the turn.
I'm going to draw again, and it's your turn.
Okay. Let's see here. I am going to also draw and pass the turn.
And I'm going to draw again.
Okay. Go ahead and put a rabbit here. And draw. Pass turn.
Getting to a point where any move you make can be too dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw again.
Okay. I'm thinking. Let's see here.
big diagonal line is a big of a problem.
Yeah. I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and throw this cage on top of your dog. And so that's an item. It can't attack. And anything under the cage is considered out of play. But if the cage ever breaks, then the tile comes back into play. And so you would attack it, or someone who wants to break it would attack it normally. So it's I believe a 5/4 entity.
Yep.
And so,
Okay.
so I'm doing that for the tile that I'm playing into the playing area. And then I'm going to draw and pass my turn.
The cage card, it belongs to you, right?
Yes. I don't know why that
So
got...
it should be
Yes.
the other way around.
Yes. I don't know why it flipped around. There we go. But yes, that's correct.
Okay, let's try this. Put this here.
Okay.
Your turn.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and place that rabbit there. And draw and pass the turn.
Game is on.
It's on. Are you having fun?
My audio is still conking out.
Oh.
I said yes twice.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, no, that wasn't work. Okay, let's try this. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, that works. Okay, let's play this here.
Okay.
And draw a card.
Okay. Let's see. Drop a pig there. And draw.
I think I misunderstood maybe something.
Sure.
When you're defending, does it extend?
I'm sorry?
So, theoretically,
Yeah.
if I decided to attack your rabbit here, and you could use both of them to defend.
Right, but you wouldn't have anything to attack the rabbit with.
No. Just theoretically.
Oh.
But if I attack this card, this rabbit can defend.
That's the only thing
What about the other two?
No, because the only thing that's neighboring the defending tile is that rabbit, is that one rabbit.
Okay. That's what I thought, but when you play that second rabbit, I thought you were like double defending.
Oh no, nope.
But that doesn't work.
Nope, doesn't work.
Okay.
You are.
In that case, my original plan makes sense. So I'm gonna play this here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna attack the cage.
Okay.
And I need to hold on. Discard here. So I'm attacking the cage.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and react to that. Well, first of all, I'm gonna, let's see, hold on a second here. 8. Okay, so I am going to use the rabbit to help defend the cage. And I'm going to play a tile as a reaction called Meteor. And I'm going to rotate that so you can read that. Meteor costs me, if I have a point, Meteor is going to cost me 1 point to use. So, well, first of all, you can react to that if you have a reaction. If you have a tile called no. If you have a tile called No Escape, that
I don't have a reaction.
Okay, so what happens is, since I have points, it's going to cost me 1 point to play. So I go from 9 to 8. Then I'm going to take Meteor, and I'm going to drop it onto a space. Oops, sorry. And let me see what space that is going to be. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go ahead and drop it. I'll go ahead and drop it right here. So basically, when the meteor drops, I remove all the tiles in that space. So even though it's considered out of play, it's still in that space. So I remove the cage, and you remove the dog. Meteor is going to go there. Cage is going to get discarded. And
the meteor stays.
And the meteor stays, correct, yes. And then the battle happens, but the defender is no longer there. The cage is gone. So the battle just fizzes.
Right. The icon for the bricks.
The icon for the bricks is called it's an obstacle, which is pretty much exactly like an item.
Okay.
So you would remove your...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Anything else you wanted to do?
Hold on. No, I'm just gonna draw.
Okay. And then on my turn, I'm going to go ahead and drop a ram here.
That's what I just drew, by the way.
What one? What one? The no
escape.
No escape? Oh, yeah, that would have won you the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and group these, and that will give me 12 points.
Yeah.
Very close game. Very close game.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I had it messed up anyway. If the scores are equal, then it's a tie.
If either the strength or intelligence is equal, either one is equal, then it's a bounce. Yeah, then it's a tie. But I think you would have
calculated my attack.
But no, you would have gotten it, I'm sure, because
I was way stronger in strength.
Yeah.
But intelligence would have been 7 apiece.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Then that would have bounced. Yep.
Okay. Still, if it hadn't bounced, it would have been a win.
That's correct. That's absolutely right. You would have won. And that was a great strategy, too. Surround that cage and crack it.
Yeah. And I knew what was underneath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
That was very interesting.
Thank you. I'm glad you had fun.
Absolutely.
Is this something that you... Do you have any comments about the game, just in general? Any criticisms or anything like that?
I'm going to start with a positive. I think it's a fun game.
Oh, good. Thank you.
It's a little bit confusing at first because of all the different symbols, and I repeatedly forgot that I had to beat both scores, and sometimes forgot, oh yeah, he's got a defender. So that's going to take a little bit of doing, but I'm sure you get used to it very quickly. What else? Well, one small thing, actually. Hold on, I think I just started that one. Yeah, this one here, the maid.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that sort of thing in a few games. That's really not my thing.
Uh-huh.
The sort of social aspect.
Uh-huh.
Beyond that, the rest of the cards that I saw, they were all fine. Some of them are really powerful.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know if it's too powerful, but it felt like it.
Uh-huh.
When you discarded half my hand, that really hurt me.
Right.
I lost a couple of cards that I was planning to use on the next turn.
Uh-huh.
So that was a bit harsh.
Right. And especially because you didn't know that card existed, or that tile existed.
Exactly.
So in future games, if you're playing someone with a ram, that you got to really watch yourself, because you don't want to get caught with a big hand that they'll oof you.
I think I was a little bit unlucky because I started out with nothing but animals.
Oh,
and
okay.
then I got like 3 or 4 actions, and then I started getting all apples.
Oh.
And then after that, I had nothing but actions.
Uh-huh.
So I was always sort of stuck, never being able to combine the strategy. It's always that I have to do one or the other.
Right.
But that's random.
Yep.
What else? Several of the action or reaction cards I just never got to use because I never had what I needed. Some of them I just got too late, but that's what happens. The Happy Tiger, because it must replace another one, I was never in a position to use it, because if I had put a tiger, I was giving you a square.
Right.
Okay, my yellow's out again. Okay. So I was saying it felt very difficult to use.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if maybe that diagonal line that I ended up with actually hurt me as much as you, because I can never play a new animal. It's always risking giving you something. Had the Tiger Frenzy.
Yeah.
That I never got to use because I had like 2 tigers at the beginning, and then I had none until the very end of the game. So I often found myself with actions that I couldn't use and no animals at all.
Uh-huh.
So,
did you ever think of ditching 2 tiles to draw a new one?
Yeah, I kept forgetting that I had that option.
Okay.
But because it's a discard, it feels like a sacrifice because I'd love to use that card. I just need something else to use it.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess, again, it's like a lot of card games like this where you sort of learn the powers, learn the things that you have in your deck.
Right.
And you know what's coming or maybe not coming.
Sure.
So because it was my first game, I have no idea what even existed.
Absolutely.
Audio again?
Yep.
Okay, I've played a few games like this where it's clear that after 2 or 3 games, you understand what you're doing a lot better.
Right.
And I think that's unavoidable. What else? I had a few cards at the beginning that allowed me to like move other cards.
Uh-huh.
I think I lost both the cards that I had when you cut off half of my hand.
Yep.
That was one thing that I found that would be interesting is being able to like shuffle cards around, like with these diagonals, maybe pushing a card of yours or pulling it.
Yep. Yep.
So,
yep.
my audio keeps cutting out.
That's okay.
I was saying that it felt like it would have been useful being able to pull and push cards around a bit more, but it seemed like it was just a handful of cards that allow you to do that.
Yes. Well, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot more cards coming. Just so you know, I mean, I talked about the starter set 1, and really, what that starter set is exactly what it says. It's just a starter set. It gets people starting with the game, and then the next starter set will have the other 6 creatures, and then from there, I'll be releasing more tiles that will be doing all of the things that you said, as far as like pushing,
Right.
pushing and pulling. Ox does a lot of pulling. Ram does a lot of pushing. Like for instance, I have this tile here, push, and that's exactly what it does. It pushes. So if you're the type of player that likes to manipulate the board a lot, you might think of making your deck include some rams so you could push things around. I know Horse has powerful kick that kicks some cards around. So yeah, I mean, to your point, you don't really, coming into this, you had no idea, what tiles did what or what powers and anything like that. So you're absolutely correct. After a game or two, you get a much better sense of like the strategy behind your deck.
What I was thinking of while playing the game, and I'm sort of getting the feeling it might be too powerful, but having a basic action where instead of playing card to the playing field, you could slide 1 card in space.
Oh yeah,
that would be like completely unbalancing.
Yeah, that'd be pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, no, that's good. One thing I'm thinking of is if a player doesn't do anything on their turn, if they just pass, giving them the option to draw 2 tiles instead of 1. But if they do anything on their turn, they only can draw 1. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think it would make a lot of sense because in some cases, for example, when you took away half of my hand,
Right.
I felt the need to pass a few times just to, get my hand back up and also not committing myself too much.
Right.
So it would definitely help if you find yourself with just a couple of cards.
Right.
To be able to go back up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you more cards.
Right.
Just,
Yeah, I'm liking that idea more and more. I'm going to play around with that some more.
there was one thing, I don't know if that's a problem necessarily, but when you took control of one of my cards,
Yes.
You put that action back into your discard.
Uh-huh.
We need to remember which tile you took control of so that we can flip it around later on.
Right.
And I'm looking at lightning,
Yeah, yeah.
which is -2 strength.
Yep.
For the rest of the turn.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, not the rest of the game. Okay. I'm just wondering if there would be a marker or something to say that this card has been flipped or...
Right, so normally if it's something that permanently affects a tile, it either goes on top of it or underneath it, and so that would be the mark of it. But if something is only going to last until the end of the turn, then it doesn't mark it. It's just something kind of set off to the side, and you just do the arithmetic for that turn.
Right. Oh, there's a move. Gallop.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds like your draws were a little unfortunate.
Yeah, probably. But again, that's part of the game.
Right.
I'm not a Magic the Gathering fan.
I'm not really either.
I did play a couple.
I'm not really either.
I played a couple of games, and it's the same thing. If your cards don't come out in the right order,
right.
overall, I think it's a very interesting concept.
Well, thank you very much.
One thing about it's not the thing. It's not important, but when I picked all the games for the playtesting, I just looked at the short descriptions.
Yes.
I hadn't realized that there was actually a longer one. And so I had no idea that this was an anime themed game.
Right.
So anime is not my thing really.
Right.
But again, it doesn't change the mechanics.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is some people. So I might have said this earlier, but I designed the game. I started designing the game a while ago, like about 13, 14 years ago, and I actually have a completely different set of art for the game, and it has nothing to do with anime. It has nothing to do with humans. It's all creatures. So it's actually like a tiger would be in the tiger slot, and a horse would be in the horse slot, and they were all illustrated. So it was very, very nice. But I met somebody who was a huge anime fan, and they offered to commission a complete a new set of art for the game, and so I couldn't really turn that down. So so they commissioned this, and then we took it to Gamma and showed it to retailers, and we were like, "Hey, which art set do you think you could sell better?" And it was universal that all the retailers were like, you have to. They were like, we call the classic. That's what we call the animal version. They are like, we like the classic set, but the anime stuff we could sell 100 times more. That's a literal quote from them. So we decided to move with the anime style first. But hopefully, if the game does well, I can go back and do another printing with the classic. And the thing is it's just an art swap. So you could have somebody playing a classic version and play someone against the anime version, and you're right, the mechanics are the same, the titles of the tiles are the same. So I definitely want to do that and do even more versions.
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I'm sure they know better than I do.
Right.
I'm not a game publisher. I wouldn't have thought that anime would actually make it sell more widely.
Yeah.
But if they think so, then, you know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, you know. I'm a very small, very small single publisher, and so I couldn't do both. I just had to choose one and hope for the best.
As long as it sells, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, if it sells, then it gives me the freedom to do more other versions, and so that's to me is what's really exciting.
So, yeah, beyond that, the only thing I might be concerned with, and again, it's lack of knowledge, but I've always had a slight beef with games that have cards like that, where one seems so much more powerful. You know, where one of them lets you just shuffle a card, and the other one says the other player has to discard everything.
Right.
So, I've always felt like they should be, you know, limited in their scope, and none of them should be like way more powerful than anything else. But as you said, if you know that the opponent has that, or probably has that somewhere, then you can plan for it.
Right, and you know, so each of the powerful tiles, I don't know if I mentioned this before, has a number at the end of it. Yeah, you saw it. You saw it on the golden bone. So I think oof is limited to only 1 or 2. I think maybe 2. So basically what I do is I go when I'm designing them and say, you know, what's the psychological damage that this tile does? And I basically limit it to...
Right.
Like, if it's really bad, then I just only have 1. Like, here's a tile here that you didn't even see. It's over here. It's called Extinction. And I only allow 1 of those because it's a pretty powerful tile. Basically, if you control 3 different classes, you can choose a class and nuke it, basically. And you can see at the very end that's in brackets just 1. So that's a 1 of. So I try to take that into consideration when I'm designing tiles.
Yeah, it's sort of the same thing as I could see sometimes in Magic cards. Again, I'm not an expert. I've practically never played the game, but it's just it's the same feeling I had watching my friends playing Magic, where some cards would be so overwhelming.
Yes.
And it would just like change the game completely.
Right.
And it's always fun when you're the one playing it.
Right.
But when you're on the receiving end and you feel that it's not fair because you're picking up and all your plans.
Yeah. No, you're completely 100% right. And I think oof is only limited to 2, maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head. But generally speaking, people don't have that many tiles in their hands. Like, to have 8 tiles in your hand is a fairly big rarity. Most people are like dying to get more tiles. So I would say the average is probably 3 or 4 tiles that they have in their hand at any given time. So that was a particularly bad oof when that happened.
Right. But we both had large hands, I think.
Yeah.
We did a lot of I'll just draw.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of things I wasn't getting either, which was kind of strange. Like, there's a tile called, which I still don't, and there's a tile called, here we go, Rabbit Habit. I was kind of waiting for this one. So basically, if you have two rabbits next to each other, you can draw 3 tiles, and if you draw any rabbits, you get to put those into play immediately. That's a really powerful tile too.
Yeah, it could be very powerful. Especially if you draw 3 other rabbits.
Yeah.
Now, I think that might be the one thing that I found really difficult after the beginning.
Uh-huh.
When we exchange squares. It's always very difficult to go and place a card, because anytime you have like 2 in a diagonal, if you put a 3rd card, you're opening up.
Right. Well, I mean,
So
yeah. So you're absolutely right about that. Depending on how you make your deck, like, if you put, like, for instance, for diagonals, you shouldn't have matching diagonals. But if you put like a tiger and a dog at diagonals, if that was the diagonal situation, you're pretty much protected. At least with this deck here, you're pretty much protected, because nothing that I could drop in there would complete a square.
yeah, you ran a couple of times next to I think it was a tiger or a dog.
Uh-huh.
I think it was a dog. So you're preventing a square by doing that.
Right.
But there's a lot of synergy between all the other ones. And so it's always very difficult, especially if you don't have a ram. A lot of the times, everything I had would have been a risk for a square.
Yep.
So basically I couldn't put it down.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the good thing is, like I said, there's going to be a much more customizable element to it. So if you, didn't want to, if you wanted to just kind of focus on tigers, for instance, which aren't compatible with very many things, so you don't really have a lot of opportunity to leave, people open, or leave yourself open, you could just do a complete tiger attack deck. And that is, that's a totally viable strategy.
Yeah. It would have been useful, actually, if I'd had tigers in the mid-game. I had a few at the beginning.
Right.
That were immediately picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had some at the end. But in the middle, I was stuck with just dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, so like if you were to get a starter set, you could just completely strip out dogs, right? And maybe you have a friend who gets a starter set and doesn't like tigers, so you could, fill your hand full of, you could make a deck out of tigers and horses, for instance, and that would be a really competitive deck.
Yeah. And in this case, it wasn't so bad, because we had a limited number of species,
right?
Animals. But I can imagine with totally customized decks, where you might have all 12 animal types, that might get really complicated.
Yeah, that could be. I think that would be a really hard deck to play, though.
Trying to think of anything else. I mean, it's not a super complex game, right?
No.
It's mostly the card effects.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be, actually, I was a big Magic player for many, many, many years, and I stopped playing because it just became too many people, it became too hardcore. I didn't see people having fun, there weren't like a lot of smiles. It was just like very cutthroat and kind of competitive and stuff, and I just didn't like that. So I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. It's a simpler game. It's something that like a parent could play with like a 10-year-old, and they could kind of have fun. So that's kind of the angle I took at it. And it's funny that you mentioned that Nay card is not for you, because at conventions I take it to, every time somebody plays that, like everybody's like laughing and thinking that's really funny. So that's an extra point. That would have been an extra point for you.
Absolutely. It's not the fact that it's not a free point. It's just the non-game aspect of it.
Right.
It's like your opponent has to get up and dance.
Right.
Or I've seen games that have these elements, and it just feels out of place.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the rest of the game.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's why I have a beef for that sort of thing. But there's a lot of games that I've seen these elements, and sometimes you see people on the forums, for example, and they say, we just take these cards out.
Yeah, you could totally. I mean, that's the beauty of this. You could play horse and never put that in.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm more of a strategic player.
Right.
I like light midweight games where it's sort of a cerebral contest.
Yes.
Where you're trying to build things up, and I don't have a problem with the take that element.
Right.
But only in reasonable doses.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're building an engine for 2/3 of the game, and then someone plays a card that basically wrecks everything,
right,
it's not really fun.
Sure.
Because they didn't work for it.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
Just pick the right card.
Yes.
So that's why I have a thing with like overpowered cards. Where it's okay to mess with your opponent, but it should never feel unfair.
Right. Yeah, I mean the beauty of this is that it's just starting out. So if I'm completely fine with adjusting tiles over time. Like if oof, instead of being 2, it just turns into 1, or it does less than half of half rounded up. Maybe it does 1 or 2. I'm happy making different versions of that, and kind of just seeing what the meta does, seeing what people say. If people really hate something, I'm happy to make another tile and not print, the other ones again.
Even if you just said round it down, that might already take it down just 1 notch.
Yeah, exactly. So there's lots of little room to make things, to dial things in, I guess, if you will. Mm-hmm. But one of the things is that, RAM itself, it doesn't have that many powerful cards. I mean, that oof is the reason why it's oof is because if you're playing RAM, if you take a look at RAM, it's not really compatible with too many things. It's only compatible with like 4 things, and it's not really it's not really smart. They're not super compatible. So I try to balance things out that way as well. Like for instance, Rooster, which you don't see because it's not out yet. But in the next starter set, Rooster is a 1 strength, 0 intelligence, or I think it's 1 strength, 1 intelligence creature that is only compatible with 3 things, and it's not compatible with itself. Kind of like Tiger. I don't know if you noticed, but Tiger is not compatible with other tigers. And so why would anybody play Rooster? It's 1 strength, 1 intelligence, super hard to get a compatibility. The only reason why you would play Rooster is because Rooster's going to have some really powerful tiles to kind of support it. And so that's kind of the main thing with RAM as well. It doesn't get a lot of heavy power, but it does have 1. It does have 1.
Yeah, I guess it's really a question of exploring the different animals and seeing how they're best played, how they're best combined.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And in these starter decks, you have 6 animals.
Yes.
So can you play the same animal as the opponent?
Yeah, I mean you could. if you got 2 starter decks, you could each play, pull the decks out of the rabbit ram.
So you took the other 3 simply to simulate like a 1-box package.
Yeah. So you get a box. I can send you a link to where it's where you can see more, where you can actually see the box. But yeah, there's two decks, 2 pre-constructed decks, and they're the decks that we just played. And people can do whatever they want with them. They get, if they get it, and they could, instead of having rabbit, they could put in tiger, and so they could have a tiger ram pig deck if they wanted,
Right. I suppose in theory you could even go crazy and just shuffle all the cards and split them up.
Yeah, no, that's true. I was thinking about that just for fun. Just shuffle them all up and have people draw. So you might get 1 horse, you might get all the horses, but you don't know. Or you might get no horses, but some really cool horse actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun.
I'm gonna throw something out just because it popped in my head. I have no idea if it makes sense. But how about a small deck of extra cards, and you have a sort of a drafting phase at the beginning? Well, they would be outside of the animals. They'd probably be items,
right,
or actions.
Yeah, you could totally do that. You absolutely could do that. There's so many things. I mean, I don't like to even say the word magic, but magic is one thing it's done is it's made lots of different formats, like Commander and Commander, Legacy. So there's a lot of different ways to play Magic, and I'm assuming that the community for Zoo will come up with different things that they want to do that they think are fun, and I will support that 100%.
Right. So anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I mean, I just wanted to get your feedback, and it sounds like it was all a good feedback, and yeah, I'll definitely take all that into consideration.
So, like I said, I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know if there would be a way to roll it into the rules, but that idea of slapping 1 card as an action, I'm still wondering if maybe that could make some sense in some way.
Yeah, well, the beauty of where this game is it's really in the beginning. So, like for instance, on the forums, I'm sure when it comes out, people will have different ideas about stuff, and I'm open to it. I'm open to trying it. Like let's play test this out and see if that is something that adds to the game. If more people are enjoying it because they can do that as an action, then I'm open for that 100%. Because Magic, again, hate to say the M word, but when it first came out, there was a whole bunch of mess to their rules, and it's gotten really tightened up over the years. But the very first sets that came out with like poly artifacts, mono artifacts, people didn't know how to play them. The rules were confusing. They changed the rules. I'm open. I mean, hopefully my game's a little tighter than that and a little bit better developed than that. But if there's a need and an opportunity to make the game more fun, then that's definitely the route I want to go, for sure.
Again, I'm not a Magic expert at all, but the 2 things that sort of bugged me about it most, apart from the overly commercial aspect,
right,
where the whole collectible card idea where you get dupes all the time.
Right.
It's
new product every single month that you have to buy.
Yeah, exactly. So that aspect always bugged me. I like to buy a game and they say, okay, I have a game and that's it, and everybody has the same game.
Right.
But the other part was when I was watching them playing a game, half of the time they spent was time spent arguing about how these cards combined and how to apply this effect, and no, this one has to apply first.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like 50% of the time was arguing about the rules.
Yep.
And that to me is a big problem.
Yeah. Well, that's.
Apparently they made a big effort to sort of coalesce everything, and but it felt like something that was out of control.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think it still to this day, you know, there's people who've played for years and aren't completely 100% like knowledgeable about every little thing that happens, you know, in a Magic stack. Whereas one of the main things I wanted to do was really simplify that. And with the physical version of the stack, you don't have any questions at all, right? You do an action,
right.
Your opponent has the chance to put a tile, physical tile, on top to respond, and then you can respond and so forth. And that has just made it so easy. There's no questions, no one's arguing. One thing you might have noticed when you were playing is that there's no counters to a direct effect, right? You can change things before an effect takes place, but you know, Magic has counter spells where it just completely shuts down what somebody wants to do, and I just think that's a horrible feeling and especially with how many counters that Magic allows, you know? It's so frustrating. So I don't plan on having any of that direct counter stuff in the game, and I think that's going to be a real benefit to the game.
I like the way that you have it in here, where you can have a reaction that sort of makes the action impossible to apply. So you're shifting the card that needs to be there. So I think that's a more interesting way of doing it.
Right.
And you can like dump on these things. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just...
One thing...
Go ahead.
Sorry. One thing that I would definitely work on is some of the bigger text blocks. You know, I needed to ask you for clarifications. The longer the text, the easier it is to have things that are complicated enough that you're not quite sure how to interpret it.
Right.
So the language has to be just right so that there's no confusion.
Yeah, I agree, and I worked really hard, but there's always room for improvement. Hopefully I'll be able to just stay humble and stay open to suggestions, and that's the thing. I really am. I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to when the game comes out, the comments, you know, if there's a chorus of people saying change this, I want to listen to that. I don't want to like double down and be stubborn on anything. So
right.
I think that'll benefit the game.
Yep, absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the time and for the
You're very welcome.
and for the comments. I'm always, I don't know how much you said you had fun. I don't know how much fun you had, but you have my email. If there's ever a time where you want to play more, I'm even outside of Gen Con, or if you have any friends who you think may like this type of game, I'm happy to jump on Tabletop Simulator, or I even have it on Tabletopia. So either one of those, the game is on there. It's free to play, and
right.
And yeah, and the game is due out in October. So if you know anybody who might like this, feel free to let me know. I can give them a link to a really good deal on the pre-order on the game. It's going to retail for $29.95 for the 2 starters, or for the 2 decks, and
Right.
and there's a place called Game Castle has it for $23.96, which is pretty good price. 20% off until the game launches. And then there's another place selling it where you get 2 free packs of sleeves. And so it just depends on whether or not you want to sleeve your game or not. But yeah, if you or any of your friends might be interested in something like that, let me know, and I can definitely send you a link.
I'll keep that in mind.
Great. Well, thanks so much, and have a good rest of your Gen Con.
Yeah, thank you. You as well.
Okay.
You have a lot of success with your other playlists.
I hope so too.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.